In my previous slide, I talked about how Columbus wanted to go west to get into the Asian market because everybody's going east, particularly the Portuguese. The Portuguese actually beat out the Spanish in terms of starting to explore, particularly when it comes to, say, Africa and into the Indian Ocean and into Asia. So let's talk about the Portuguese Empire and Portuguese exploration. If you look at a map, you just Google search Portuguese exploration in the high seas, or something like that, and look at the images, and you come up with a map. What you'll notice is the coast of Africa, and it's got these little leapfrogging type of arrows. All these little expeditions that are sent by the Portuguese in various years, and they keep leapfrogging one another. Well, what are they leapfrogging to? Well, you think about it this way. Think about Finding Nemo. Remember Finding Nemo? There's that scene where the Nemo and the little fish. They see the boat out there, right? They see the boat, and they call it the butt, right? But it's the boat, and they challenge one another to go and touch the boat, right? To go all the way out there. One little fish goes out and gets scared and comes back, and the other fish goes a little bit farther. Of course, what does Nemo do? Nemo goes all the way and of course, against his father's wishes, touches the boat. Why do I bring up Nemo then? Well, that's kind of like what's going on with the Portuguese. Now, they're not scared, like the little fish, but what they're doing is they're going south and they're leapfrogging one another to the point that they're trying to get around that Cape of was it Good Hope or Cape Horn? I think of Good Hope or something like that. That the bottom peninsula of Africa. They're trying to get around it. And the person that gets around it, not only that, it actually goes straight into the Indian market, is a guy named Vasco da Gama. So he's basically Nemo in our story. He's able to find this all-water route all the way to India. Now, why is it so treacherous? We think today, you just sail across it, right? No problem. Well, you have to remember that, if you look at a map, the area between Africa and Antarctica, basically it's bringing all of this water. It's bringing water from the Atlantic Ocean, water from the Indian and Pacific Ocean, and throwing it into a massive bottleneck. The result is a really treacherous place to sail, even today. So the Gamas in the Portuguese are able to go across, you get around there, and then they sail back up the African coast and then make a beeline straight to India. Now the Europeans wanted by far the most is an all-water route to anywhere, okay, especially into the Asian market. So the question is, why? Why do they need an all-water route? And the answer is going to be, it's pretty simple. It's safer and it's faster. Think about it. Think about going over land from Portugal all the way to India, and walking it or doing a caravan. It's going to take you months, right? It's going to take you months to get across this land. And of course, we're not talking about, nice peaceful lands. We're talking about places that remember the Crusades. Okay. In fact, there are places in this world that still remember the Crusades. All right. Read some of the stuff that's coming out of, about ISIS and about Al Qaeda. They're talking about Catholics, as crusaders, right? If you remember, I think it was 2016 when Rick Santorum, when he, a senator from Pennsylvania, when he announced that he was running for president, a lot of the extremist newsletters that are coming out of the Middle East actually describe Santorum not as a Catholic but as a crusader. So we're talking about a time period. We're talking about an event. 100 years ago. Hundreds of years ago. And today, right? Well, not so much hundreds of years ago back then, right? We're talking about just maybe 200, maybe 3. So the result, of course, is going to be is that you start seeing Christians trying to walk through the areas that they previously fought against the Arabs, and they're not going to like it terribly much, right? So you have you got a dangerous, hostile population that you're going to pass through. Not to mention, this is not exactly areas that are easy to pass by, right? We're talking about mountains, we're talking about deserts, right? So you don't need, so you have dangerous land conditions and dangerous peoples that are not going to like you going through their lands. Now, think about water route. Does a ship need to sleep? No, the only thing a ship, only thing that needs to sleep is the crew on the ship. So you have multiple crews that you can switch out, in terms of shifts, and they can keep that ship going, right? So ships don't sleep, they don't stop unless the crew makes it stop, or of course if it sinks. But nevertheless, a ship can keep on going while you're sleeping. Another reason why a all water route is better is because it's safer. I mean, other than pirates, you're not really going to see many hostile peoples out in the middle of the ocean, right? So they're able to sail in the ocean pretty much unmolested by hostile people. I mean, mermaids. I mean, that would be pretty much the only people that are hostile towards ships sailing through the ocean, right? And we don't need to worry about them too much, do we? So it's safer and it's quicker. So as a result of all of this exploration of the coasts of Africa and up the eastern coast of Africa, is that every time this Portuguese stop, they start establishing trading posts throughout the coastal of Africa, in the west and the east coast. The result of which is going to be that it's going to be Portugal that's going to dominate the world slave trade as Europe, as the Portuguese bring European goods into Africa, and the Africans are going to provide labor for Portuguese and eventually European colonies throughout the world.